So the nice thing with our agents is we have two folds of agents we do. So we can use the open source models, right? Meaning that we can use a ChatGPT, we can use Claude, or we can use a custom trained model. So for gyms related stuff, we've developed a custom trained model, a vision model, and we'll actually talk about for another client what we did. But we'll make a custom trained model because actually what people don't realize is training a custom trained model is actually pretty cheap as long as you know the task it's supposed to do. Using a big large language model is supposed to be good for overall tasks, but a simple model will be good if you train it towards that one specific task. And it's significantly cheaper to run and use and operate. Now you're not paying for tokens, you're just paying for the monthly cost of it.
Well, and I was just going to say, I love it because I remember I was kind of freaked out the first time I had to like pay a little bit more in my Claude or my ChatGPT because I just don't have it with you guys. But yeah, in the beginning, that was all you were saying to me is, oh, we can't do it that way because it's going to cost too much. It's too much information. So please.
Yes. No, absolutely. Did I answer your question? Perfect. Yeah, go ahead.
So with the chatbot and having a customized agent, I noticed recently with my ChatGPT that I'm using, it now has ChatGPT work.
Yeah.
And it's offering me to do all of the automations, my emails and all that. And then I also have Note Claude that's connected to Notion. So
Okay.
I do my taskings and stuff that way too. So how is what you're talking about?
Hey, hold on one second.
No, I think he wants you to repeat the question.
When you get a question, repeat it. Like,
Oh.
yeah. I can just reset
got
it
it.
because it was
Okay,
long-winded.
okay, absolutely. So, just to make sure I got the gist correct, you want to go ahead and answer? Yeah, okay, perfect.
Yeah, so I could talk a little about this. And basically what her question was she already has ChatGPT locked in with her workflows and Notion, and it's all set up and all integrated in between, and it's fine, and it does all our automation. But here's kind of what we do differently, and I'll actually talk more about this later in the slides. We have more specific examples, but there's things that you can't actually do through Claude or ChatGPT Coworker, Claude Coworker, whatever you use, because you're only limited to their integrations. Let's say you want something completely custom. Like for instance, we could have it so you come in at 6 a.m. or whatever it is, and you see exactly what you need to do for that day, and you check things off, and it's live. So we could do completely custom integrations, work with for Zillow, we could integrate with Property Radar, we could integrate these custom servers, and these live entirely on their own and can do whatever they want. So it's not limited to just OpenAI's or ChatGPT's integration scope. It could do everything, and I know with those run a lot, those are really good, those are very powerful, but for some of the more custom solutions, especially in real estate, where everything is cutting edge, using these custom-made solutions have been very, very successful for us. So, and like I said, I'll talk more about it later, and I hope that answers the question.
Anyone else any other questions before we continue? So just for everyone else on the Zoom, so you're asking if these agents are built off of open source AI, right? Correct. Okay, so I think part of the biggest issues with AI too I'll talk about is, right, every day there's a new model. Tomorrow it's ChatGPT is doing good, tomorrow Claude is doing good. The next day then some Chinese model is doing good, right? So what we do is, the nice thing is we take these open source models and there's something called fine tuning. I'll kind of get a little bit into it. So what fine tuning is you can take this like big ChatGPT-esque model and you can fine tune it to do specifically the task that you want it to do. And how do you fine tune it? In layman's term, you take the data you have and you just dump that data into that model, and then the model will learn how to do that, the task you want it to do based on your data. Now you have a model that no one else has, and that model is now proprietary to you. So the thing what we do is we take these open source model that has all these architecture already there, we'll train it, and we'll make it proprietary fine-tuned towards your needs. And the reason why we do and not train a model from direct scratch is because the cost of that is significant. Multi-millions, multi-billions. We're very lucky we live in a day and an age where a lot of these things are given out for free and open source. But the reason why people don't take advantage of it is because it's a hard skill set to learn on how to take advantage of. And that's where we try to come, and we try to break that barrier so that you guys have all these tools and technologies available for you. Does that answer your question? So I can talk about what's happened today, right? So there's something called Kimi K3 just came out recently. If some of you guys know about it, that one's really good. The ones that we kind of used have been using is like the Quen models. We'll use some of the Gemma models, which is from Google, that's open source. Neutron models, which is from NVIDIA, that's also open source. So these are very good models out there that you can use and you can fine tune to be able to do the tasks you want.
So we're getting far into the weeds here, guys.
Yes,
So
yes, I know. It's
yeah.
gone a little bit too technical, but
We're real estate people.
Yes,
we can barely.
yes.
We can't spell Quinn. I can't spell Quinn. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Quinn 2 point what? Exactly.
Yes, yeah.
Please, let's go.
So absolutely. So that answers your question. Anyone else have any other questions? Go ahead. Yeah.
Access to the data, since a lot of these databases don't want to give you access to it in the industrial way.
Every one of the people that we gather data from are password protected. Every one of them. Meaning they found that they figured out by using passwords that I already have how to get into these systems and do all of the stuff automatically. So for me, that was a question in the back of my mind that they sort of laughed at and just handled in seconds.
So I'll explain that to you a little bit. So basically what we do is like anything you do on your computer or your phone, if you're clicking on it, we can automate it. Literally. If you're logging to a website, we can automate that task. If you have to go and check, click, 3,000 different pages through to get your data that you want, we can automate that. So anything you're doing, we can automate it. And the reason why we can automate it is thanks to the AI automation background we had prior to this, and then as well as the background we also have with understanding. What we did was for the companies we've worked with, we've already generated these engines that can go in and take all that data and then give it to the AI. So we have the technology for that today. If that answers your question.
Let's move on.
Cool. Perfect. So we're going to talk about one of the case studies, and I'll actually let Adrian start it off. But this is Distress Radar. This is kind of like a case study for a quote we gave to a client recently. This is utilizing Property Radar just from a high level, right? What we're basically doing is we're taking the Property Radar API data, and then we're trying to see using satellite imagery.
What is API data?
So API data is basically just a data stream that we can take that Property Radar gives for. It's basically computer speak to computer speak. So you have Property Radar. When we see it visually, that's from computer to how we can view it. That's a user interface. API is the same thing, but it's just a thread that is given to us so that we can give it to another computer and we can use that data and analyze that data. That's all.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So that's all the API is. Now what we do is from Property Radar, we'll take the API essentially, and the whole concept of this is that we can then look at the satellite imagery data from all these listings, and then we can use our custom built AI model, and this time it's a vision model, to be able to see which property is in distress, compare that with the county records, and then do the skip trace validation. And then after all of that, now instead of you having to do all of that manually, we've given you that whole list within 35 minutes to maybe 3 to 4 hours, depending on how big your list is. And now you can make actual basically intelligence decisions based on that data.
So if I wanted to speak to everybody in 92505 that have owned their house for 25 years, that are over the age of 79 years old, that have a blue tarp on their wall on their roof, you can give me every one of those people.
Exactly. And we can use it based on custom imagery data.
And then you'll have their phone numbers, you'll have their brother's phone number,
Exactly.
you'll have their cousin's phone number, you'll have numbers for them to
So
call.
the scary part is because I work in cybersecurity, I know how to get all the people's information. Because he does the satellite imagery, he can actually get the latest satellite images through his friends that he knows and through the companies we have contacts with, so we can see the latest data on if a property has a tarp or if it doesn't have a tarp on it. So, and we'll go through it.
That's pretty sexy.
Yeah, thank you. So every person in this room, we can already run this query. This is on Property Radar, right? So we can go there, we can do Riverside, owner age 65, equity 60%, years owned, and then owner occupied SFR. Right, I'll let Adrian go through the rest.
Yeah, so like Brandon says, anyone can do that search, right? You just go on Property Radar, you put in your parameters, and boom, 12,431 searches came up, and we did this pretty recently. So say it takes 6 minutes to go through each one. 1,243 hours, 24 hours in a day, you do the math. So why don't we just cut it down? So do all the boring stuff. You have a process already. Because 300 hours is basically what are you
So hold on a minute. So what he's saying, guys, is that they certainly will have a process that they can show you. But if you personally have your process is what they're talking about. They're talking about you guys meeting with them, telling them exactly what it is you guys want them to look for, and they'll customize this for you. So please.
Yep. So like Jim said, it's you define the problem, you work out what the friction points are, and in this case, it's that there's too many things to go through. The process, you have it defined. It's just cutting back on those boring hours and getting it to be a simpler process. So, and yeah, 12,131 hours gone. So, well, we can go through this a little more specific right now. So, say that you have a workflow of like 15 steps, right? And say that you can automate everything but like 3 of them. And so we can go through all the steps if you guys want, but I'm sure you guys know the process of going through, checking the pricing, seeing what profit you can make. Hold
on. How many of you have spent hours and days exporting the CSV file? God, I've done it like so many damn times. It's
Just
not
open up
even
an Excel
funny.
sheet. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, just that one thing alone, like, it makes me break out in hives.
Yeah, it's just the classic Excel sheet, right? Where everyone opens it up, puts all the data in, and just stares at it for hours in the day. It's,
Weeks. Boy, I wish I could do something with this. you
Right,
know?
exactly. And at the end of the day, not only is it just a problem of time. I mean, as you do more and more, right, you're becoming less efficient. I mean, you don't want to do this work. So, but yeah, we'll keep going.
Which sort of is interesting to me because I would call that deal fatigue. So once I actually figured out how to manage a CSV file, which was years ago, and I figured out how to like pare the list down, you can still only process so many deals. I like I said, I call it deal fatigue. Like after a while, they all just sort of look the same, and I don't remember which blue tarp was which. Was it a blue tarp or was it a green tarp or was it a gray tarp? No, it was an orange tarp. I know it was. And that to me is what. For me, because I'm just so dim-witted, this is what really helps me with all of these processes. So please.
So I'll just talk about it really quick, right? Like he said, the CSV is a big issue. Then also now you've done that CSV export 3 times in the last 10 days. You have already some dedupes, basically meaning that you already have some same deals you've already done through and you've closed. Now you have to go through that list, remove those, right? Now what you're doing is you're taking that data, you're searching on Google Maps, right? Or if you're using another tool to be able to see the satellite imagery. And then what you're trying to eyeball, is that look like a junkyard? Does that look like there's an RV there that's just been sitting for days? Is there a blue tarp on there? And then what you're doing is you're putting all of this into a spreadsheet, or you're hiring people to do all this for you. And then now you have to think about the county records, the skip tracing, and all that next steps. What we want you to do is we only want you to focus on 2 steps. We only want you to focus on building the criteria and then the call log, and remember to follow up in 90 days. That's where we come in. So we literally will take all these other steps you saw and we'll automate all of them. So that's kind of the process that we go through, and we'll kind of talk to you a little bit about it more as we keep on going through the slides. So it's a set it and forget it kind of situation. And now we're right now in the engagement where we're thinking about how do we automate even the search query itself to be a little bit more smarter by training an AI model to understand the different locations and different time periods, how that affects the overall stability of the market.
So I know you guys have you've expressed that this was something that you were working towards. So now you're pitching actual clients to is this like a one-stop shop for everybody, or is what I'm saying correct? Where if maybe it's mobile home parks that someone's interested in, maybe it's for a long time I used to just market to 2-bedroom, 1-bath because I thought the people were easier for me to deal with. I mean, is it something that you can customize like that? Is what I'm asking.
Absolutely. So the whole idea is, right, like at the end of the day, is any of those things that Jim's talking about, this is like a one-stop solution, right? So this is a current custom client engagement, but we can take any of your guys' processes and then figure out how to automate it and make it faster so you guys can just be at the decision-making process and at the query process.
So something as specific as maybe notes. Like let's say we wanted, we have to find wherever that source information is. That's really what it is. You would need that kind of information to find out who is recording notes. And what these notes are secured by, or please, somebody out there's got to know more about this than I do. But the point is that there's no limit to what it is we're talking about here, guys. Please,
no,
keep
absolutely.
going.
There is really no limit as long as it's a process you're doing today on the computer or by yourself using any type of data. We can automate that. Essentially, that's kind of what it's all about. So I'll go next. So now this is the interesting thing.
Yep. So this is let's go and get the images up. So as Jim was mentioning, we provided that resource where you're like looking at the roofs, right, with the satellite data. Thanks to Mike. And so you can see in the top right, you'll see a little score rating of like how distressed it's based just off the image itself, and that's off the vision model itself. So you can see.
That looks like AI grass to me, dude. Come on.
I guess someone kept it really neat. It does look robotic, but so you'll go from a score of 12, where it looks very, very tidy. There's no tarp on the roof. You'll go to a 91, tarp, no grass. A little more.
Scroll up a little bit.
Oh, yeah, we can zoom in. Yeah, there you go. Cool. It's overgrown, vacant, right, and it's not so healthy. And then of course you have junk, long-term RV, but. Yeah, so it's a nice process. I mean, you could do this yourself. You could go in, take a look at it. You could be like, yeah, that doesn't look so nice. But why do that when it's a repeatable process that you can set an agent for? So, I can't read that. The first thing we do in a job, pick the right. It's exactly. So, like I said, if the process is defined, and you have your friction points, we can go through it. And I'll let Mike speak about it. I know he wants to speak about it.
Yes, and also this is a great answer to your question. This is a little more specific on what I'm talking about. So we went over APIs a little bit at the beginning. I hope you guys can see all that. So like Property Radar has a way that we could communicate and set up our own special ChatGPT integrations, basically. So we could make our own Property Radar integration, and now we'll go to something like getting the county and tax or the recorder records. There's no way to integrate that within like ChatGPT. There's no API for that. No one's going to make that automated. So what we do is we have browser actions. So we actually watch exactly how to get these records via a browser, and then build this special browser agent, which is only good at doing that one task and does it over and over and over and over again. And this is something completely custom that we had to build from scratch and that no one's making automations for.
They do it for me right now. This works for us.
Yeah, these agents are hyper reliable. From that, we'll then go and get the street imagery. And now, because of my experience with working with the state and getting satellite imagery, I have contracts with specific satellite imagery people, and they could get me the latest and greatest images. So we can actually see that roofing detail 100% accurate 100% of the time. Then we'll go in the next step, which is our vision screening, which is basically what we just showed before, which was giving each property a vision score and then showing like what are the keywords. So when you go through, you only have to look at a couple keywords in the image right away. And we just took this process. If you did manually, this would take an hour. But now we just boom, boom, boom. You just go to your desk and you see the decision, or you see what's it called? You see all the information right in front of you, and all you have to do is make that decision right away. It's all set up for you. Next one, please.
Everybody's already freaking out. They're like, oh, I can't afford this. I can't afford this.
No, and I do
can't
want to add one
afford
thing.
this.
So you can take all this right now. This is the exact steps we did, and you can give it to AI, and AI will be like, okay, I can do the property radar stuff right now. Your ChatGPT, your Claude will say, okay, maybe I can do the property radar. The county might be tough. The aerial street image, maybe I'll find something. The vision score, okay, maybe it'll take some time. So this is very possible, and you can try doing it, but it'll be a fragmented system. That's where we come in. We can kind of make that system streamlined, and that's what we've done with this new client and engagement. And then the last imageries that you've seen too, those are not real right now because we're not supposed to show the real engagements because there's a couple of them, so we're not supposed to show the real ones. But those are some of the training data imagery we use to train the vision model. That's what we kind of showed you guys.
Exactly.
Now, do we have to already subscribe to like Property Radar or the county records?
So the nice thing is, so what I'm trying to show you guys here is this.
So repeat the question.
Yeah, so you're asking, do we have to subscribe to the county or to property records or to have access to the county records, correct? Property radar or county records. So there's two folds to that question. So now what we do is we do custom tooling based on the tools that people give us. So like, for example, this client came and said, hey, we have this route for the property radar, use our property radar account. We said, great, we'll use it. They said, we need you to figure out the county records. We have no idea. Then we figured that out, that process. So after we figured that process out, we were able to work it out. So you don't necessarily need to bring anything in if you don't want to.